campers. I hope you're enjoying your time. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Kitty Mervine, and I've written the book Fairy Tales Fairly Told, and each of you is going to get a copy of this book. I'd just like to say a few words about why it's great to be a skeptic and skeptic child and teenager. You can be at some place like this spooky cemetery, and you're not afraid of anything. You know that things like ghosts and zombies and all that are just fun entertainment. You're not, oh, hi. Hey, everyone. I'd like to introduce you to my friend. This is Noah Whippy.
Hi, how's it going?
Noah is the illustrator of the book Fairy Tales Fairly Told. And, Noah, would you like to tell us a little bit about your usual kind of artwork?
Normally I draw kind of spooky and creepy stuff, comic books, stuff like that. But Kitty asked me to do this for her, and I thought, it's a good challenge as an artist too. Plus, it's something I care about.
And I'd also like to say that next year, Noah and I hope to have a book written that has a little bit more of a spooky, zombie, fun feel. And of course, as skeptics, we can enjoy it as entertainment because we know in real life there's a lot of other things to be worried about besides zombies and ghosts and aliens.
Yeah, but something definitely more up my alley.
Hi, now we're at my home in Antrim, New Hampshire, where I live on the shores of Lake Franklin Pierce. And Lake Pierce is famous because a few summers ago we had an alligator sighting. In fact, we had many alligator sightings. It was sort of our own little mini lake monster. Well, of course, the mystery was solved after investigation, and it turned out that we had a fish called a pike that was over 6 feet long. And people here aren't used to seeing a fish that large, and they just mistook it for an alligator. They really don't look anything much alike, but the mystery was solved, and the fish was moved to a lake a little less populated. The story I'm going to read is sort of based on that same topic, Utterly Impossible, and it's inspired by an investigation by Joe Nickell of the Loch Ness Monster. Once upon a time, there were 3 otters. These otters were brothers, and they lived in Scotland. Now, usually, otters do not have names. They just call each other Otter. But these 3 Scottish otters all had names. That's because whenever they were out swimming together, they would hear people crying out, "Oh look, it's Loch Ness Monster!" The otters, who lived in a large lake called Loch Ness, Loch means lake in Scotland, assumed that the humans were calling them by name. "Ach," said Loch, "humans are a wee bit daft, but if they want to give me a name like Loch, I suppose it's all right." Ness and Munster thought their names were a bit daft also, but having their own names did make things much easier. They remembered when all the otters were named Otter. It made things very confusing. One otter would say, "Otter," and all the others would say, "Yes?" Now, if Loch wanted to talk to Ness, and not Munster, he could just say, "Ness." If Munster wanted to talk to Loch, he could just say, "Loch." What the otters didn't know was that the humans were not calling the otters by name. Instead, the humans were very confused. Otters, when they swim, often swim in a row. So Loch would lead, and Ness and Munster would follow behind. Usually Loch would poke his head up to keep an eye where they were going. Ness and Munster could just keep their heads down following Loch and trusting that he knew where they were going. Also, the Scottish otter brothers liked to swim early in the morning when it was foggy out. Sometimes they also liked to swim about in the early evening hours. They liked to be on the lake when it was quiet without a lot of dangerous boats. One day, Loch Ness and Munster decided to go on vacation to the United States to visit their cousins. Their cousins lived in Lake Champlain, which is part of the state of Vermont. The Scottish otters flew across the Atlantic and met their cousins at the airport. Loch Ness and Munster were quick to relate how they had real, if slightly daft names. The American otters just laughed and said, "Come with us." Soon all the otters were having a lovely time on Lake Champlain. The American otters then said, "Swim with us in a line, and let's see what happens." The otters all made a long swimming line, and soon people on the shore were shouting, "It's Champy! It's a really long, giant Champy!" they cried. The American otters turned to their Scottish cousins and said, "See, we have names also." The Scottish otters thought the names Champ and Pete were wonderful. "I wonder if all lake otters have been named by humans," Champ said. They all decided that for their next vacation they would fly up to visit their second cousins in Canada at Lake Okanagan and find out if they had names.